They say there was a princess whose sleep silenced an entire kingdom, but that sleep was not death. It was a curse, centuries old. 100 years later, when the world forgot her name, a prince arrived, and destiny awoke. But can one kiss really break a spell? Can love truly defeat dark magic? Stay till the end, because this is not the Sleeping Beauty you remember. This is the untold story of a curse, a dream, and a love that never died. A long time ago, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a good and noble king and his gentle queen. They had everything they could wish for, except one thing. They had no child. For many years, they prayed for a baby, and at last, their wish was granted. The queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The king and queen were overjoyed. They decided to hold a grand celebration in honor of the princess's birth. They invited all the fairies in the kingdom, hoping each would bless the baby with a special gift. There were 13 fairies in the land, but the king had only 12 golden plates to serve them on. So one fairy, the 13th, was not invited. At the grand banquet, each of the 12 fairies came forward one by one and blessed the princess. One gave her beauty, another gave her grace, another gave her wisdom, and so on. Each gave a precious gift. But just as the last fairy was about to speak, the hall doors burst open. The 13th fairy, who had not been invited, appeared in a flash of fire and smoke. Her face was full of anger. "How dare you forget me?" she shouted. "You shall regret it." She raised her wand and declared, "When the princess turns 16, she shall prick her finger on a spinning wheel and die." Then she vanished. Everyone was horrified. The queen began to weep and the king begged for mercy. But before anyone could lose hope, one of the good fairies, who had not yet given her blessing, stepped forward. She said gently, "I cannot undo the curse, but I can soften it. The princess shall not die. Instead, she will fall into a deep sleep for 100 years. And when the time is past, a prince will come to awaken her." To protect his daughter, the king ordered that every spinning wheel in the kingdom be destroyed. None were allowed in any house, tower, or workshop. The years passed, and the princess grew up, blessed with every gift the fairies had given her. She was kind, beautiful, and wise, loved by all who met her. Then, one day, when she was 16 years old, the king and queen were away from the castle. The princess wandered through the halls until she found a tiny room at the top of a tower. Inside was an old woman spinning flax. "What are you doing?" asked the princess. "I'm spinning, my dear," said the old woman. "Would you like to try?" The princess had never seen a spinning wheel before. She reached out curiously, and prick, the spindle pricked her finger. At that very moment, the curse was fulfilled. The princess fell to the ground, fast asleep. The good fairy's spell spread through the castle. Everyone inside, the king, queen, servants, guards, even the horses and dogs, all fell asleep where they stood. Thorns and vines began to grow around the castle, thicker and taller, until it was completely hidden from the world. Over time, people forgot it even existed. Legends spread of a sleeping princess surrounded by magic and danger. 100 years passed. One day, a young prince heard an old man telling the legend of the sleeping princess. "Many have tried to enter the enchanted forest," said the man, "but none have returned." The prince's heart was brave and pure. He decided to go himself. As he approached the castle, the thorns magically parted, creating a path. He entered and found everything covered in dust and silence. At last, he came to a grand chamber where the princess lay sleeping on a golden bed. Her beauty took his breath away. He knelt beside her and gently kissed her hand. At once, the spell broke. The princess opened her eyes and smiled at him. All around the castle, people awoke from their long slumber as if they had only been dreaming. The prince and princess soon fell deeply in love. The king and queen rejoiced, and the fairy who had softened the curse appeared once more to bless their union. A grand wedding was held, with music, laughter, and joy filling every corner of the castle. And from that day onward, the princess who had slept for 100 years was known as Sleeping Beauty, and they lived happily ever after. And so, the sleep of 100 years was broken. Time itself had paused, waiting for a single touch of love. The prince and the princess looked into each other's eyes, and the curse that had silenced a kingdom melted into light. But was it truly an end? Or just another beginning? Because some stories never die. They only sleep, waiting for love to wake them again. This was the real story of Sleeping Beauty. And so, the sleep of 100 years was broken. Time itself had paused, waiting for a single touch of love. The prince and the princess looked into each other's eyes, and the curse that had silenced a kingdom melted into light. But was it truly an end? Or just another beginning? Because some stories never die. They only sleep, waiting for love to wake them again. This was the real story of Sleeping Beauty.